To understand why the speed of light stands beyond our reach, we must begin not with equations, but with perception. We experience motion as something simple. A car accelerates, a plane climbs, a pulse rises. Speed feels like a matter of engines and distance. But in truth, speed is a conversation with time, and time does not speak gently. Imagine standing on Earth, feeling the slow rotation beneath your feet. A day passes, then another. The sky changes, the seasons shift. Your body ages in rhythm with the planet. Space feels enormous, unreachable. Light from distant stars takes years to arrive. We live inside time like fish inside water, unaware of its weight until we try to swim faster than it flows. But what if a human tried? What if we built a vessel meant not merely to move, but to challenge time itself? Acceleration begins. 1,000 kilometer age, 10,000, 50,000. You are still within the comfort of Newtonian thinking. Speed is speed, and distance shortens beneath you. But velocity accumulates like gravity gathers mass. It bends everything around it: space, time, perception, memory. At 30% of light speed, you would feel it first not in motion, but in time. On your ship, coffee cools at the pace it always has. Your pulse remains steady. You sleep, you wake, you think. And yet, outside, the universe has aged a little more than you did. A second for you is a second plus for them. The first tear in the fabric of shared existence. At 50%, the divergence grows. What feels like a year aboard would be more on Earth. Children grow faster than you expect. Cities rise while you remain unchanged. You do not travel through space. You travel away from synchronized time. The future begins to outpace you. Is that movement forward or a drift out of relevance? The answer depends on perspective. For the traveler, the universe opens like a flower. Nebulae bloom, stars shift, new constellations form. For those left behind, the traveler dissolves into delay. A message too slow, a memory that fades. Here lies the first truth. Speed is not simply arrival. It is separation. To run towards light is to leave the human timeline. And yet, humanity runs. Not because we crave distance, but because distance contains mystery. We cross oceans not to escape shorelines, but to see what waits beyond. Light is the cosmic horizon, the final beyond. Imagine now 80% of light speed. The stars ahead condense into a forward-pointing lance of brilliance. Behind you, space reddens into memory. Your ship is no longer merely moving. It is stretching space-time like warm glass. Time inside the cabin flows slowly. Time outside races like a river in flood. And then you realize something breathtaking. You are no longer living in the same universe as those who remain. Not because matter changed, but because time did. You write a message. I'm safe. I'm still young. I'm still myself. By the time it reaches Earth, a decade has passed. Families have shifted. Histories have advanced. You belong to a present that no longer exists. The tragedy is gentle, not violent. You survive, but you drift. You do not die, but you are erased. And still, there is wonder. Because at such speed, the cosmos is no longer static. Galaxies breathe. Clouds of hydrogen swirl like tides. Star clusters migrate through darkness with the patience of gods. The traveler sees what earthbound humans call impossible timescales compressed into a lifetime. In this new frame, speed becomes reflection. Not how fast we move, but how deeply we witness. Not what we leave behind, but what we learn when time loosens its grip. This is why light remains untouchable. Not because we are incapable, but because meaning requires limitation. If we could move like photons, we would lose the story. If we could outrun time, we could no longer measure it. The first chapter ends with a realization like falling snow. We do not chase the speed of light to win. We chase it to understand. And understanding, unlike velocity, is infinite. To chase the speed of light is to step out of the human scale. We measure life in breaths, in days, in memories shared with others. But near the cosmic limit, time becomes uneven ground. Every increase in velocity widens the distance between personal time and universal time. A traveler remains young while the universe ages like accelerated weather. Motion becomes not just movement through space, but divergence from history. Imagine a mission departs Earth with 4 crew members, each trained, steady, brilliant. They accelerate for months until their vessel reaches 90% of light speed. Inside, 1 year passes. Outside, nearly 3. Cities change. Cultures shift. What was present is now memory. But the mission continues. The vessel pushes harder. 92%, 95%, 98%. Time stretches into 2 paths, theirs and ours. For the travelers, bodies slow like deep tides. Cell division eases. Bones age reluctantly. Sleep deepens. The mind perceives time as thick water, gentle and steady. They speak softly, unaware that language evolves behind them. They laugh in the kitchen of the ship, unaware that generations rise and fall outside. Their youth remains. Meanwhile, Earth rushes forward. New nations form, old ones fade. Technologies transition through eras. Children become elders. Stories are written after the travelers have left, but before they return. They are alive, but displaced. This is the second truth of high velocity. Speed is not progress. It is temporal exile. And yet, there is beauty in exile, because the closer one moves toward light, the more one sees of time itself. The universe becomes dynamic. Star clusters shift like slow music. Nebulae contract into stars as if inhaling creation. Supernovae bloom like thunderous flowers across a timeline sped up by relativity. A single lifetime contains epochs. The cosmos is no longer distant. It is immediate. The travelers write observations that seem impossible. The Orion Nebula brightened over 12 months. A dwarf galaxy passed the edge of a spiral arm within our journey. We watch 3 worlds melt into stars. Their journals become mythology. But the tragedy remains quietly present. They cannot share what they witness in real time. Every message home arrives to a future without context. By the time their transmission returns, the Earth that could understand them is gone. Their knowledge has no audience. To move near the speed of light is to become historian of eras with no contemporaries. And yet, humanity would do it anyway. Because curiosity does not seek permission from time, it seeks horizons. Picture the ship returning home 20 subjective years later. On Earth, 2 centuries have passed. Their launch site is coastline. Their families are lineage. Their language is accent. They step out as strangers in the world that once called them heroes. But they carry the universe in their eyes. They speak of stars forming like seasons. They speak of galaxies migrating like herds. They speak of time not as line, but as ocean. And perhaps, slowly, Earth listens. Their exile becomes bridge. Their distance becomes meaning. In that moment, we understand the paradox. The price of approaching light is not death. It is uniqueness. The universe does not punish the traveler. It isolates them so they may see. And the world that once moved ahead without them may grow because of them. On Earth, the mind is anchored by rhythm. Morning, evening, birth, death. Memory forms a chain, link after link, holding identity together. But near the speed of light, rhythm fractures. There is no sunrise in the void. There is no rain, no season, no shared calendar. Life inside the ship becomes smooth, continuous, without repetition. And without repetition, memory has nothing to grip. A traveler journals to preserve self. Day 142. Time feels circular. I dream without dreaming. My thoughts unfold like slow tides, unreachable by urgency. But Earth races. News arrives late, like voices from ghosts. Children become elders. Nations rewrite themselves. The traveler remembers, but returns to a world that remembers differently. The past becomes private. The present becomes unshared. This is the silent cost of relativistic experience. The traveler gains vision, but loses context. He sees what no one else can, at the cost of being understood by no one alive. And still, the mind adapts. Slowly, quietly, memory detaches from collective time. The brain learns to think not in history, but in observation. The universe replaces the clock. Stars become calendar. Nebulae become journal entries. A supernova is no longer an event. It is a season. Perspective transforms. To the traveler, humanity appears like flash, brilliant, brief, burning fast. To Earth, the traveler appears like myth, distant, slow to return. Two minds, one species, separated not by belief, but by speed. And here comes a thought almost frightening. If consciousness stretches far enough, does it become something new? A human mind built for centuries of subjective life might lose the concept of urgency. Emotion could thin or deepen into something elemental. Joy might become quiet awe. Fear might dissolve into cosmic acceptance. Love might narrow into a single luminous thread, strong enough to survive centuries. Perhaps evolution is not only biological. Perhaps evolution is temporal. Imagine a traveler returning after 200 Earth years. His body still young, his voice still steady, but his mind oceanic, deep with eras most never witness. He speaks slowly, like one who has watched galaxies inhale. He listens deeply, like one who knows time is water. Earth cannot understand him fully, but Earth becomes more because of him. Knowledge arrives not as fact, but as worldview, a philosophy sealed inside relativistic experience. We are temporary, but perception need not be. We are finite, but awareness can widen into cosmos. And here lies the third truth. Approaching the speed of light does not make us light. It makes us infinite in perspective. Not immortal, but immeasurable. Not eternal, but expanded. This chapter closes with a quiet realization. The universe does not want us unchanged. It wants us widened. It wants us to return not younger, but deeper. Light remains unbroken. Limit remains unpassed. But meaning stretches forever. We have crossed the threshold of biology and stepped into the fragile interior of consciousness. But there is another layer that waits quietly beneath. Emotion. Thought stretches with time, but feeling anchors us. Near the speed of light, where time itself unravels into separate rivers, emotion becomes the last thread tying a traveler to humanity. On Earth, feelings unfold inside story. We love across calendars, grieve across anniversaries, celebrate against birthdays. Emotion depends on sequence, on memory that lines itself like pearls on a string. But when a traveler moves near light, the string loosens. Days blend, years compress. The emotional arc that once guided meaning becomes fog. And yet, emotion survives, not as rhythm, but as gravity, not as chronology, but as pull. A traveler close to light speed might not remember time in human scale, but they will still remember a voice, a face, a promise whispered before launch. Emotion becomes not timeline, but beacon. It guides when time cannot. It warms when memory fragments. It survives when chronology dies. Imagine waking aboard a relativistic vessel. You are young, but Earth is older. You open your journal, the same page awaits. No sunrise, no yesterday, no season. But you whisper a name, and that name is anchor. Emotion becomes the hourglass. Love becomes the calendar. Longing becomes the only unit of duration. This is the paradox of near-light travel. The closer one moves to the cosmic horizon, the more meaning depends on what does not stretch. The heart. A traveler far from Earth's timeline may lose track of birthdays, but not of connection. They may forget dates, but not devotion. They may outlive generations, but not attachment. Because love does not age in seconds, it ages in presence. And presence, aboard such a vessel, is deep and slow like a starless sea. But with this beauty comes shadow. Emotion that survives time dilation becomes intense, distilled, overwhelming. A single memory might burn longer than lifetimes outside. Grief may never conclude. Joy may never fade. A traveler could carry a feeling like a star, hot, bright, heavy, for centuries of external time. Is that a blessing or a burden? Perhaps both. For the traveler, emotion becomes universe. For Earth, the universe becomes memory. Two halves again, one burning, one recording. So what does humanity become under such division? A species with two emotional timescales, one that feels quickly, one that feels slowly. The future astronaut may love a world that forgets them. The future Earth may honor stories from travelers whose hearts beat outside chronology. And maybe, just maybe, this becomes the foundation for evolution. A love that outlives time, a grief that understands centuries, an empathy that holds the entire cosmos as home. Emotion becomes the unbreakable law when physics breaks everything else. While the universe rushes, the heart remains steady. While time splits, devotion binds. While reality stretches, meaning contracts into brilliance. The traveler does not become light. They become luminous, bright with feeling that no year can thin. We cannot outrun the speed of light. But love travels without velocity. It expands where engines fail. It bridges where time divides. It survives where laws do not. And because of that, we remain human, even at the edge of eternity. So far, we have walked with the traveler through memory, separation, time, and emotion. Each step closer to the speed of light reshaped not only nature, but meaning. Yet there is still an unspoken dimension: community. Humanity is not built from individuals alone, but from networks of minds and shared narratives. What becomes of civilization when some live in centuries and others in minutes? What future waits for a species divided by velocity? Imagine a world where near-light travel becomes real, not myth, but routine. Ships depart Earth every decade, each carrying explorers who will return not old, but changed. 20 years pass for them, 200 for the planet. They leave as citizens and return as relics. And Earth evolves without them. Governments rise, languages drift, cultures reinterpret themselves. The returning traveler speaks a dialect no one has heard for generations. Their childhood memories belong to archaeology. Their technology is museum material. They are from here, but not of here. And humanity must choose what to do with such a person. There are three paths. 1. Reject the traveler. See them as anomaly, as fragment of a timeline no longer relevant. Let them fade like old ink. 2. Assimilate the traveler. Expect them to adjust to modern time. Force their centuries of observation into years of policy. 3. Honor the traveler. Treat them as living bridge between epochs. Their perspective becomes resource. Their memory becomes expansion. The third path carries the future of civilization. Because the near-light traveler is not advanced, they are unfolded. Their mind has widened across eras. Their experience is time compressed into consciousness. They do not bring new materials. They bring new meaning. And meaning, not velocity, evolves a species. In such a future, humanity could become two branches of one tree. The stayers, bound to earth, rich in culture, in history, in continuity. The travelers, chronologically distant, but cosmically aware. One holds time, the other witnesses it. Together they form more than either could alone. Civilization becomes dialogue between velocities, between memory and discovery, between rootedness and horizon. But this union is fragile. If distrust grows, the tree splits. If envy emerges, the future fractures. If misunderstanding dominates, time becomes war. A species cannot survive divided by time. It must learn to communicate across different clocks. Imagine a university where a professor who lived 20 subjective years teaches students 2 centuries younger than his children. Imagine communities built around translation of experience, not language. Imagine laws written to protect continuity of memory across centuries. Imagine friendship forged between those who live fast and those who live slow. Humanity could learn to stretch, not in muscle, in mind, not in distance, in empathy. And then, something miraculous might occur. We would no longer fear the speed of light. We would respect it. We would not chase it to escape time. We would chase it to enrich time. In this world, the traveler does not return to loneliness. They return to purpose. They are archive. They are telescope of time. They carry the long exposure of the universe. And Earth. Earth becomes listener, patient, curious, evolving not only outward, but inward. Civilization matures like a mind that learns 2 languages, one of memory, one of motion. The future is neither fast nor slow. It is both. And this chapter ends on a single realization, vast as a galaxy. We do not need to reach the speed of light to be transformed by it. It is enough to live in conversation with the impossible. Together, we have imagined a divided future. One branch of humanity rooted in centuries, another unfolding in decades. But beneath civilization lies another layer that cannot be ignored. Biology. The body is not designed for light speed. It is built for gravity, metabolism, circadian rhythm. What happens when muscle, bone, and DNA are stretched not by distance, but by time itself? To approach light speed is to approach mutation, not the horror of twisted form, but the subtle, slow recalibration of life. The body aboard a near-light vessel exists in softened time. Cellular aging decelerates, heart rate stabilizes, mitochondria operate like quiet engines. The traveler could live hundreds of Earth years while experiencing only decades. But longevity is not immortality. It is responsibility. A long-lived traveler must remember that bone density declines without gravity. Muscles forget weight. Joints lose friction. Even thought, stretched gently by time dilation, becomes fluid and slow. The ship is cradle and cathedral both, and Earth changes faster than the body. Technology advances by leaps. Medicine rewrites itself. Languages molt. A traveler returning home must confront not only chronological displacement, but biological difference. Their bones, preserved. Earth's bones, transformed. The traveler becomes ancient in youth. The planet becomes young in age. This is the fourth truth. Near-light travel evolves the body not forward, but sideways. A new human emerges, not mutated by radiation or catastrophe, but by velocity. a species adapted to long memory, slow biology, and deep perception. And what of reproduction? A near-light traveler might have descendants who perceive time differently, children born into a lineage of dilation. If such children return to Earth, they may grow old among people who age rapidly by comparison. Family lines fracture not by conflict, but by tempo. In one lifetime inside the ship, 10 generations could rise and fall on Earth. The traveler may meet great descendants who look at them as relic or legend. Emotion slices deep. Imagine holding a child who is your descendant but older in calendar than you. Imagine loving someone who dies of age while you remain in your 30s. Longevity becomes grief. Time dilation turns the heart into archive. Memory becomes inheritance no one else remembers. And yet, there is beauty. Because the body that survives centuries sees patterns the short-lived cannot. They witness climate cycles like breath. They watch cultures spiral, collapse, renew. They understand life not as flame, but as tide. A near-light human carries not history, but perspective. And perspective shapes wisdom. So perhaps biology is not barrier. Perhaps biology is bridge. A species living both fast and slow could learn resilience. Earth teaches urgency. Near light teaches patience. Together they become evolution not of form, but of rhythm. We imagine astronauts as metal and mathematics. But the true challenge of light speed is flesh. The traveler must learn to sleep without sunrise, to breathe without gravity, to love without chronology. They must accept that returning home means returning a stranger, biologically familiar, temporally foreign. Then the final reflection rises like dawn. If time reshapes the body, and the body reshapes identity, what kind of human waits at the end of the light? Not broken, not divine, but transformed. We now stand at the midpoint of the journey, where physics and humanity intertwine so deeply that it is no longer possible to speak of one without the other. And still, we have asked what speed does to time, to memory, to emotion, to the body. But now the universe raises a quieter question, one almost spiritual. What happens to meaning when time loses shape? A traveler near the speed of light exists in a stretched stillness. Moments lengthen like shadows at sunset. Thought becomes calm, deep, tidal. The universe begins to look less like chaos and more like pulse, inhale of creation, exhale of entropy. Meaning is not found in years, because years blur. Meaning is found in awareness, in the ability to witness cosmic change with a steady heart. On Earth, purpose is tied to schedules, to milestones, to futures that come quickly. But aboard a relativistic vessel, purpose cannot be urgency. It must be presence. You cannot outrun centuries and still measure life in hours. So purpose stretches. It becomes larger, slower, quieter. A traveler may begin to value not achievement, but comprehension. Not movement, but perception. Not legacy, but clarity. This transformation is not weakness. It is evolution. Humanity has always changed when horizons changed. Fire rewired our brains. Language rewired our culture. Stars will rewire our purpose. And here emerges a profound possibility. Approaching the speed of light may create a new philosophy of existence. A slow mind inside a fast universe learns patience. A long-lived heart learns compassion. A consciousness that sees centuries learns humility. Because no single generation owns the future anymore. The traveler sees beyond nations, beyond eras, beyond transient conflict. They think like forests. They feel like oceans. They speak like time. And what of spirituality? Not religion, but awareness. The quiet sense that existence is vast and fragile and interconnected. A near-light traveler might experience awe not as moment, but as habitat. A supernova is not spectacle. It is neighbor. A black hole is not myth. It is structure. And light, endlessly fleeing ahead, becomes teacher instead of target. Meaning ceases to be destination. Meaning becomes state. A condition of mind luminous, without speed. But this awakening is not effortless. Just as a mountain reshapes lungs, the cosmic horizon reshapes identity. If a traveler loses the thread to Earth entirely, meaning dissolves. If Earth cannot understand what the traveler brings, meaning is wasted. So purpose must be shared. Even across centuries, even across timelines, even across light. This is the great challenge of humanity's future. To find meaning not by defeating limits, but by growing within them. We will never reach the speed of light, but we can become species who understands why it exists. We can follow light, not to catch it, but to see ourselves reflected in it. Up to this point, we have explored humanity stretched across time, physically, mentally, emotionally, culturally. But there remains a deeper frontier, still untouched. A boundary beneath physics, like dark water beneath a glacier. Identity. What does it mean to be human when one person may live centuries of Earth time while aging only decades? When memory expands beyond shared context and experience stretches into cosmic proportion? Identity on Earth is built through reflection. We know who we are because others remember us, because they age with us, because we share time. But near the speed of light, reflection breaks. The traveler returns young to a world that has forgotten their childhood. Their teachers are gone, their city renamed, their music outdated, their slang extinct. Identity becomes self-contained, a closed loop, a mirror with no opposite face. And in that silence, the traveler must ask, who am I when no one remembers who I was? The answer cannot come from Earth. Time has severed that tether. The answer must come from within. A self must form not from shared history, but from observed eternity. Less story, more awareness. Less biography, more presence. Imagine a traveler who has lived 80 subjective years aboard a vessel, while 8 centuries passed on Earth. They are ancient in perspective, newborn in context. They are both memory and myth. This identity is fragile, but luminous. For the traveler is no longer merely human. They are timescale made flesh. Patience turned to personality. Silence shaped into consciousness. But even such a being needs witness. Meaning requires another mind. A star shines brighter when reflected. So humanity must evolve not only in biology and technology, but in empathy, enough to hold 2 timescales at once. Future societies may have roles for relativistic returnees, archivists of cosmic change, translators between centuries, philosophers of depth and slowness, guides who turn time into meaning. In them, identity becomes communal again, not tied to one life, but many, not trapped in one century, but stretched across epochs. And perhaps the purpose of light speed is not travel, not distance, not conquest, but continuity. The universe expands, we witness, and meaning holds the two together. By now, the traveler is no longer simply a human in motion, but a consciousness stretched across centuries. One foot in the present of the ship, one in the future of Earth. They have learned patience, identity, awareness. But there is one more threshold ahead. Purpose on a cosmic scale. We ask softly, what is a human life for when time itself is negotiable? Earth answers with urgency. Light speed answers with perspective. Together, they build meaning. Imagine generations passing like tides. The traveler watches new worlds form from dust, civilizations rise and fade, and stars shift position across the sky like migrating lanterns. Their journal spans 7 epochs of human history, yet only a decade of personal time. They are witness, not of events, but of the universe itself. And witness carries responsibility, because when one sees far, one must speak deep. The traveler begins to understand something powerful. Humanity cannot outrun light, but humanity can outgrow ignorance. Knowledge becomes inheritance. Curiosity becomes engine. Perspective becomes navigation. They return to Earth, young in flesh, ancient in perception. And humanity must choose to listen. Some will doubt. Some will fear. Some will worship me. But others will understand that the traveler is not messenger of distance, but messenger of scale. And scale changes everything. When you see galaxies breathe over centuries, war looks brief. When you witness stars detonate like seasons, anger feels small. When you watch civilizations bloom and vanish, empathy becomes law. Light speed does not make us gods. It makes us humble. And humility may be the evolution needed for our species to survive. For what destroys civilizations is not distance. It is perspective too narrow to carry conflict. The traveler is remedy, not savior, mirror. A reflection of what humanity may become when time is no longer prison, but canvas. They begin to teach not science, but orientation. How to think in centuries. How to hold love without possession, how to grieve without collapse, how to widen identity without losing self. These lessons are seeds. Some sprout now. Some will root 1,000 years ahead. Still others remain dormant, waiting for the next traveler to unlock. This is how knowledge moves when light is limit. Not fast, but forever. And as the traveler ages, slowly, gently, they begin to realize that purpose is not discovery. Purpose is continuity. The carrying of meaning not through space, but through time. They are linked between eras, a bridge across centuries, a single life extended into history like the arm of a galaxy. And then comes the realization, quiet as cosmic background radiation. Perhaps the speed of light exists not to confine us, but to teach us how to grow without breaking. We do not become infinite by velocity. We become infinite by connection, by memory shared across worlds and epochs, by meaning passed like flame. Time stretches, flesh endures, identity glows, purpose expands. There comes a moment in every cosmic journey when the universe stops being environment and becomes mirror. Not a surface that shows the face, but a vast, reflective field that returns meaning. The traveler has stretched through time, carried centuries like quiet weather, witnessed stars as seasons. But now a new realization dawns. Light is not simply speed. Light is structure. Light is the way the universe understands itself. A photon travels without aging. It does not remember where it began. It never slows. It is the universe in motion, without reflection, without self-awareness. But humanity is awareness. Humanity is reflection, and reflection needs time. If we moved like light, we would lose ourselves. If we became timeless, we would vanish into velocity. Here lies the cosmic balance. Light carries the universe forward. Consciousness carries the universe inward. Two infinities, motion and meaning, neither complete without the other. A traveler nearing the cosmic speed limit begins to understand this. They watch galaxies shift like slow waves. They witness the birth of stars in the span of personal decades. They see gamma storms that outlive civilizations. And they begin to feel something the universe has never known. Compassion for time. Because only a being who experiences loss can understand value. Only one who remembers can forgive. Only one who ages can love. Light does none of these things. That is why the universe invented life. That is why the universe invented us. We are not failed photons. We are necessary witnesses. On Earth, this truth is quiet, almost invisible. But near light speed, it becomes obvious. The traveler realizes that the universe is not empty. It is alive with absence, with possibility, with tenderness hidden in entropy. A dying star is not tragedy. It is inheritance, feeding new worlds. A collapsing galaxy is not end. It is evolution, matter reorganizing. A limit is not refusal, it is invitation. And so the traveler no longer pursues light as conquest. They pursue it as teacher. They begin to ask not how fast one can move, but how deeply one can understand. The closer they come to light speed, the more space becomes thought. Nebulae unfold like ideas. Gravity becomes conversation. Black holes are no longer monsters, they are questions. And the traveler answers not with math alone, but with empathy, with wonder, with silence so full it becomes speech. Time, once enemy, becomes companion. Distance, once goal, becomes canvas. Light, once finish line, becomes horizon. And here the cosmic revelation settles like dust across a beam of sun. We are not meant to reach the speed of light. We are meant to grow in its direction, like plants bending toward the sun, not to become star, but to be nourished by it. The universe gives us limit not to confine, but to shape. For without boundary, there is no meaning. And without meaning, there is no consciousness. We have followed the traveler to the threshold of understanding, to the moment where light ceases to be speed and becomes architecture. But there is still one question radiating at the core of this journey, like a pulse beneath cosmic silence. If light is boundary, what lies beyond the boundary for those who cannot cross it? The universe answers in paradox. We measure distance by light years, yet no one will ever live a light year in a single lifetime. We measure time by the movement of light, yet no one can move alongside it. Light defines reality by remaining just beyond reach, like a horizon that walks ahead of every culture, every ship, every hope. And still we chase it, not to break it, but to belong to the story it writes. Because light is more than motion. Light is memory. Every photon that touches Earth is a message from the past, from a star that may no longer burn, from a galaxy that may no longer exist. Starlight is archaeology of space. We do not see the cosmos as it is. We see it as it was. This revelation reshapes the traveler's mind. They begin to understand that light is the universe remembering itself. That illumination is not presence, but echo. We navigate through an archive of burning ghosts. And so a new purpose forms like nebula. Humanity exists to read the universe's memory, not to arrive, but to translate. Light writes history in photons. We answer in thought. Where light moves outward, consciousness moves inward. Two directions, one story. A traveler near light speed becomes bridge between these motions. Their life slows while the universe races. They see centuries unfold like seasons. They do not consume time, they harvest it. But harvesting time demands sacrifice. To witness is to endure loss. Stars die, civilizations vanish, galaxies collide. A traveler cannot save what they see. They can only remember and return as carrier of cosmic experience. They become librarian of eras, historian of unshared time, vessel of memory measured in starlight. And yet, they remain human, fragile, finite, full of longing. This paradox is the soul of the journey. We cannot reach the speed of light because the universe needs someone to watch it unfold. not eternally, but attentively, not perfectly, but meaningfully. Light is constant. Humans are conscious, and consciousness transforms constancy into significance. The traveler realizes they are not the failure of physics. They are the fulfillment of it. For what value is a universe expanding endlessly if nothing within it can understand expansion? What worth is light uncatchable if there is no witness to chase it? Meaning is not in arrival. Meaning is in pursuit, in the stretch of mind toward impossible horizon. Near-light experience becomes spiritual in its quiet depth. A consciousness stretched across centuries becomes soft, empathetic, luminous. Grief becomes gentleness. Curiosity becomes compassion. Knowledge becomes awe. Humanity, once obsessed with conquest, begins to evolve toward comprehension. Not empire, understanding. Not domination, reverence. Not speed, depth. We are approaching the final bend of this journey, not a conclusion, but a soft horizon where understanding collects like dusk at the edge of thought. We have walked beside the traveler through centuries compressed into breaths, through identity rebuilt from solitude, through emotion preserved when calendars dissolve. Now one final layer emerges, meaning not for the traveler, but for humanity. If a single person can live across eras due to near-light travel, then a civilization may one day think across epochs. Not in centuries, but in millennia. Not in generations, but in continuity. Humanity today exists like sparks, brief, bright, forgetting often what came before. But a future shaped by relativistic experience would carry memory not in books, but in people, in living witnesses who return with galaxies in their eyes and time in their voices. They are not messengers of speed. They are messengers of scale. A relativistic society might become gentler not through laws, but through perspective. Peace does not come from power. Peace comes from distance. To see the earth from above is to love it. To see humanity across time is to forgive it. This is the quiet revolution the speed of light creates. Not faster ships, faster empathy. Imagine a world council not of nations, but of timelines, where travelers speak for the long future and citizens speak for the present. A dual governance of now and next. Short-view urgency and long-view wisdom braided like DNA. We would think differently, build differently, dream differently. Terraforming might not be conquest, but gardening. Exploration might not be escape, but belonging. Technology might not accelerate life, but deepen it. The universe would not be frontier, it would be home. And the speed of light, forever unreachable, would be the hearth fire of that home. The warm limit that gives shape to wonder. The boundary that makes curiosity infinite, not futile. A limit does not diminish greatness. A limit creates greatness. Just as a note becomes music only by ending, and a life becomes precious only by being finite. The traveler near light speed learns this in silence. The civilization they return to must learn it in unity. Because the future is not fast. The future is wide. And width requires memory. Depth requires patience. Meaning requires impossibility. We do not chase light to win. We chase it to understand why winning was never the point. We are here not to outrun the universe. We are here to witness it, to love it, to learn from it, and to carry that learning across generations like a slow lantern passed hand to hand through darkness. This is where the journey rests, not ends, rests, because no journey toward light can end while curiosity lives. We have moved with the traveler through time like water, through identity like starlight, through biology, culture, memory, emotion, philosophy. We have seen that speed is not motion, it is perspective. That light is not destination, it is teacher. That humanity, limited by physics, becomes limitless in meaning. And now one final realization rises like sunrise across a silent ocean. We do not change the universe by reaching the speed of light. We change the universe by understanding why we cannot. The universe does not deny us light. It invites us to grow beneath it, to stretch but not shatter, to witness, not replace, to evolve not in velocity, but in awareness. In the traveler, we saw the future of consciousness, a being who lives longer than centuries of Earth, a witness who holds time like music, a mind that bends gently instead of breaking. And we understood something profound. Light is not speed. Light is memory, and consciousness is the mirror memory requires. Humanity will not become light, but humanity will learn to think like it, to illuminate instead of conquer, to reflect instead of forget. Imagine a future where entire civilizations exist across braided timelines, where travelers return with galaxies inside them, and Earth welcomes them not as relics, but as guides, where knowledge moves not in hours or files, but in hearts stretched like constellations across eras. We will still be mortal, but we will be vast, not eternal in duration, eternal in depth. And this is the final grace of the speed of light. It protects the story. It protects wonder. It protects the fragile beauty of being finite in an infinite world. If we reach the speed of light, we would no longer feel time. If we outran time, we could no longer cherish moments. If we never lost anything, we could never love anything. Limitation is not flaw. Limitation is meaning. A photon crosses galaxies untouched. A human crosses one lifetime illuminated. Which one truly understands the journey? The one that arrives, or the one that remembers? The universe does not need more light. It has stars and quasars and galaxies uncountable. It needs something else, something rarer. It needs witnesses. It needs storytellers. It needs minds that carry history across darkness like lanterns. It needs us. So we stand here, at the impossible horizon, knowing we will never cross it, and smiling anyway. Because we do not live for arrival. We live for direction, for curiosity, for wonder, for meaning. The speed of light is the unreachable note in a symphony we were born to play beneath. And because we cannot strike that note, every other note becomes precious. Every heartbeat, every thought, every century. So this final chapter closes with the softest truth we have found. We will never reach the speed of light. And because we will never reach it, we will forever move toward it, growing, learning, aware, human.